Welcome to Primetime Mitch, and today we're talking Everybody, welcome to Primetime Mitch, and it is Final Destination Bloodlines, the review. This will include spoilers. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. If you haven't seen the movie, please go check it out. It is doing very well at the moment. Promotion of it over here isn't quite as good as it should be, but it certainly is across the pond. Go check it out, then come back and watch this review once you've seen it, because I will be talking in depth about the movie from start to finish. Also, before watching this movie, if you've got a little bit of time to spare, I have an interview on my channel with the creator of Final Destination, Jeffrey Reddick. He gives us some little hints about what to expect from this particular movie and talks about the franchise in general. Fantastic discussion. That is up there and in the description below, where you can find the link to that video. I have done a tier list of the Final Destination movies. It was the second video I did on this channel, and my opinion on the franchise as a whole is that it's a very, very close to my heart set of movies. Apart from the fourth one, I do not like that at all, but that's sort of a universal opinion really. But I do have a strong connection to Final Destination. That's why I really anticipated and look forward to this one coming out. The one thing I did notice about this movie, which I was a little bit disappointed in, and I don't want to start on a negative, but I thought I'd just say it because it's right at the start, I didn't get that credits sequence. I always remember about the Final Destination movies, particularly 3 and 4 and 5, the credit sequence, the opening sequence, is absolutely fantastically constructed with echoes of movies gone by. Certainly in the 4th and 5th, the 3rd one was sort of the amusement park mechanisms and stuff like that. So I didn't get that in this one, but what I will say is it goes straight into it. We get the train tracks at the beginning and the car coming across, and you just wonder how significant that is, or whether it was just a nod to Final Destination 3's epic subway crash at the end of it. You got Paul and Iris, and they're heading off to a special place that only Paul knows about. He's got Iris blindfolded, and there's all this cool retro music playing in the background. It's a lovely day, and they head up to the Skyview restaurant. Imagine Toronto. It's just all the way up to the top with the elevator going up the centre, and it's a big surprise. They're going to go and dine there and enjoy the evening at this place. Iris is initially excited, but then she starts getting sort of weird feelings. And it starts by this one kid who, I swear to God, I have never wanted a young person in a movie to get eliminated quite as much as this little He's stealing pennies from the fountain. That's bad luck, the guy tells him, and obviously foreboding. But he'll come back into it in a minute. They go up in the elevator and she's starting to see things that aren't particularly settling. The lift is full to capacity, they're crammed in there, and all that excitement starting to drain out of her, and you can sort of understand why it's happening, but at the same time it's a very quick switch between oh my god, this is amazing, to I'm not sure if I like this. So that was interesting how quickly she turned, but at the same time you can sort of understand it with all the signs she's seeing. They get to the restaurant and they are refused entry, so they sort of just try and wing their way in and via distraction. All the while she is unsettled and she's not feeling great about the situation. I love the look of the restaurant, by the way. It looks absolutely amazing. And I know that the usual Final Destination movies play on fears that we can relate to. The freeway pile-up, the roller coaster crash, even just going over a bridge, taking a flight. All things. This is why I think 4 failed. I mean, I can't really relate to a NASCAR accident, you know what I mean? This one is kind of in the middle, but at the same time, who hasn't gone up to a big monument or to a landmark? I went up the Duomo in Florence, and that was quite terrifying on the way up, and the look down was, I mean, I've got a terrible fear of heights, so I don't tend to look down, but looking out was incredible. So we've all been in that situation. I suppose if you're Northern England like me, you'd remember trips to Blackpool Tower when you were a kid. Think Eiffel Tower, but not quite as grandiose. This is where it just all spirals. This kid is throwing a penny over the edge of the side, which obviously is dangerous in itself. He's an asshole to the guy telling him not to do it, and the coin gets stuck in the fan, and that's what triggers a series of events, which is absolutely horrific. CGI in this is used. but it's used certainly in this sequence and similar to Final Destination 5 to magnificent effect. This is a true nightmare situation. You are so far off the ground that whatever is going on, you're going to have to do something incredible to escape it. And obviously with so much panic going on, the elevator situation is a terrifying one in itself. The stairs are a no-go. There is just carnage and chaos. I'm not going to go deep into it, but it is a brutal opening premonition. This is where it got very interesting for me. You get the big eye shot of the premonition coming to a conclusion, and it's suddenly a different girl. And I'm thinking initially, is this the same girl? She's just got like brunette. I wasn't even looking at her face really at the time. I just thought maybe she's seeing herself in a different lifetime or something. Or it's just a nightmare where things are slightly different. But no, it is a totally different girl. And this, you then come to realize this is her grandmother that she is having the premonition of. And this made it so much better. Because instead of reshooting what we've already seen and just using different characters, because there is an argument to suggest that Final Destination 5, if you were gonna any criticism of that, it would be that it just follows the same concept at the start. It changes it up a little with the kill or be killed, but it is still somebody has a premonition, sends a bunch of people, death comes back for them. This is different. This transcends eras, and I was immediately interested in this, and I was so pleased as well because I thought that this would be a really positive thing for the franchise, for them to freshen it up like this, because this can lead down different avenues. It can branch off, no pun intended, just like the Bloodlines in this movie suggest. In these movies, particularly with 4, I am swayed into how I feel about the movies by the characters. I know you watch these movies for the deaths, I know you watch it for the carnage and the chaos, but if I don't care what's happening to the characters, there's no tension, there's no suspense, there's no worry. You've got to feel worry, you've got to feel fear in these movies, because that's what they're about. They're a horror, they are a thriller. You've got to be thrilled, and if I don't care about the characters and all I want to see is them getting picked off left, right and centre, I'll just go watch an old Friday the 13th movie. This one has to have some substance behind it. I love the characters in this movie. The protagonist, Stephanie, a lot of people I've read, they said that she's not really as strong as some of the ones in the past. That may be true, but at the same time, she does the job. She acts it out well. I believe her, and I like how fractured she is from her family as well. So not only has she got to try and convince them of what she's telling them, she's also got to try and convince them of her integrity as a person. They've almost detached from her completely because she's gone away and she has taken herself out of their lives. So I quite like that as a little bit of character development to start with. Some of the least interesting ones probably go at the beginning. Cousin, the uncle, they're interesting enough, but they don't have to be explored because they ain't going to be around for very long. And you find that with a lot of Final Destination movies is kind of the characters with the least dimensions tend to get picked off at the beginning, although there are exceptions. Harmon is fantastic as Eric. I loved his performance, as have many have lauded that as being one of the standouts in the movie. He is so cynical, but he's such a family man at the same time. I like the way they balance it out, because when he does show that softer side, it hits more and people warm to him more. He's very alternative. He's very much full of character. He's got all the piercings and the eyeliner and everything. I'm always an advocate for that. Big fan of him. Also, again, the characters are not they're not unlikable, they're not assholes, which was where 4 failed spectacularly. Like I said, the only asshole in this whole film that I couldn't wait to go was the kid. I always hate it when people say that Final Destination is just completely and utterly kills and gore and mindless violence. It's not always about that. Now, I'm not saying I go to watch Final Destination movies for the story, something that Taylor explains put in his video, which amused me. You'd probably be insane if that was the case, but I do want to see a bit of body to it, because I can watch mindless violence anywhere, especially in this day and age. So I want to see something that knits it together. I think 1 was great for the story. I think 2 was brilliant, the way it went backwards and connected the deaths with the survival and vice versa. Although 3 abandoned that to a degree, there was still the element of the photographs and the connection between the 2 characters who have to be friends even though they dislike one another because their partners were killed in the original premonition. Just little bits like that. I need that. 4 failed horribly on that. 5 got it absolutely spot on with the looping back and making it a prequel. I wanted to see something from this, because if it's got a title of Bloodlines, there's got to be a story, and there's a story, and I like it. I like how widely this expands as well. We get a big backstory. There are so many people down the line that have been affected and shouldn't be here, and I thought that was brilliant. And it all comes back to this family, and I was happy that this story was being pushed. I don't think it's slowed down because of it. Some people have mentioned that in reviews. I think it's fair. It depends on your viewing experience, I suppose, but I don't think it was slowed down by that. I don't think it was hampered by it at all. I don't think it made it convoluted. There is one little plot hole I would love to sort of iron out. If anybody has got a better explanation of this and I missed something, I've only watched it the once, going to watch it again today, but it's the fact that the Skyview disaster, and this was a great twist, the fact that she prevented the disaster by seeing what was going to happen. That's never happened before. She's only saved a select few people. And in hindsight, looking back, there was no particular people it focused on that much. It was only Iris and the little boy at the end. There was no real focus on individual deaths like there has been in previous ones. She prevents a disaster. That's an absolute first, and I was really intrigued by that. But here's where my problem lies. In the second one, it was not suggested, it was heavily implied as part of the story that new life defeats death. And in the decades following the Skyview disaster prevention, there was a whole lot of life. Whole lot of new life. And I'd like, if I'm going to look at this in a way that makes sense to me, I'm just getting the feeling that Tony Todd's character, who we'll speak about soon, was trying to figure it out himself and trying to throw out suggestions to these kids that might work. Obviously, that doesn't come to fruition in the second one because the lady and the baby were never supposed to be in the crash in the first place, so we never see the outcome of whether or not that was true. So if I look at it in that way, there's no problem. But if anybody has a better solution, a better suggestion to that, please drop it in the comments below. But anyway, the Bloodlines, the mass of people that shouldn't be here, all connected to this family, I thought was great. I thought the prevention of the disaster completely and it never happening at all was fantastic. Now to it, the kills. I think the kills in this movie are inventive. They are fun in parts. They are gnarly as hell in parts as well. I have got a problem with overuse of CGI, and I think that that's the one criticism I've seen of this movie is there is a lot of CGI in it. Mentioned it briefly at the beginning, I'll go through it now. And I hark back to 4 as how not to do things because I try and measure up the criticism. 4 used CGI concrete. 4 looked like the mockbusters that Amy Horror and I watch. There are ways to do things that can make CGI very effective. You've only got to look at the bridge collapse in 5. In many scenes, in 3, it worked. 4 used it where it was absolutely unnecessary. It did not need to be used. I think in this movie, it works well. I think a lot of the time, it works. I don't agree with using CGI for things like the foot with the shard of glass in the garden. I don't know whether that was CGI. Again, I need to watch it again today and I'll find that out. It's going to be after the fact, but I guess I'll be proved right or wrong on that one. But if that was CGI, that didn't need to be CGI. But a lot of the deaths, they sort of back themselves into a corner, specifically with the catastrophic happenings in the premonition as well. You can't really practically affect that. But as long as the CGI looks good and looks real, that's what matters. 4, it didn't look real. It looks silly, especially when the blood sometimes looks a little caricature as well. Especially, I always hark back to like Saw 3D. The blood was sort of pink, purple coloured and it was cartoon-like and it almost looked like an animation over the top of the real thing, a bit like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something. I thought they got it right in this for the most part. I'd have to watch it again today to see whether or not I'm completely right on that, but I do think in this movie that it was used to effect, and I don't think it distracts. Sometimes you can see a death and go, oh, that looked stupid. I don't think that was the case in this. I never felt like that throughout this whole movie. The MRI death is one of the best things I've seen in the franchise. That's rightly been lauded as being one of the best. So I think you've got to look at it as, does the CGI hamper the movie? Maybe it does to some, it didn't in this. Not to me. And certainly not on first viewing. Like I said, second viewing may be different. But the story held it together. The thing was, there was so much bad CGI in 4 that you needed something really strong to pull it around. It had nothing. So all you did was then go, well, the story was terrible, so were the deaths good? No, the deaths were as well. So that's where you've got to balance it out. I thought this movie was fine in that sense. I thought some of the scenes were suitably chaotic, that a little bit of CGI helped, didn't really hamper it. It is one of my negative marks that there is a lot of CGI used, but it's not a huge negative, it's just a negative. And now to probably the most moving point of the movie. Tony Todd's final appearance was poignant, real, and if I'm honest with you, it probably puts a star on the movie in its rating. It felt real, and sadly, I hate that we know why it felt real. Obviously, Tony passed away not long after, and his legacy through Candyman, through the various horror projects he pops up in, his name being on the cast list is always a reason to watch any movie. But his legacy in the Final Destination franchise is enormous, and it will be felt. However many movies they do, you will feel that loss, and they have a hole to fill there. They have a void to fill. Listening to his speech, which apparently was improvised, which makes it all the more bittersweet. There is nobody that has created that sinister, ominous feel quite like Tony Todd. There is nobody that could have brought the character of William Bloodworth to us and said, this is going to mean something, quite like Tony Todd. His performance in this movie was, like I said, very difficult to watch, but at the same time, it really, really helped it. It really was needed. And what a way to go out. What a way to leave something for the fans. And like I said, I think he made the movie better, and he would love to know that.
Good luck.
So we come to the conclusion of the movie, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. There's always, I would say the third movie was the one that really pushed this isn't over yet. The second one definitely did a little bit right in the last seconds, but the third one really gave us something completely different and completely new to worry about at the end. This also did that. And I was smiling at the end of it. That's the way I look at it. I wasn't like sat there going, ugh, you know, I was laughing. I was smiling. I was going, yeah, man, okay. All right, yeah, and that's how I want to be at these kind of movies. I go to these movies for entertainment, for enjoyment, for creasing up in my seat when something terrible's happening to a character. That's what you go for. And I got all of that. The nods to previous movies, I'm going to use the word, every week I use it, subtle. They were used to such small degree that the big franchise fans could notice them straight away, and the ones that were sort of casual fans could go, hang on, wasn't that part of one before? The log truck, I was so happy when I saw it appear, even happier when I saw it appear again. Even the stalling over the hospital name, Clear Rivers, was fantastic. Just little things like that made such a difference. I don't know if I was right or wrong, again, I'll find out tonight, but to me there was a roller coaster, the sound of a roller coaster in the background outside the sky view while they were up looking out the window. Maybe wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure you could hear it. There's probably a ton more Easter eggs in there that I need to look for. That's the beauty of this movie. There's so much depth and layer to it that you can enjoy it. And overall, I had a fantastic time with Bloodlines. I've never reviewed the other four properly. I only did the tier list right back a year and a half ago, and I was very green to this kind of thing, so I hadn't really grasped how to do this yet, and I probably would do it differently now. I find them very difficult to rank because I put four at the bottom and out of the way, and then the others are just all clustered at the top, so it's very hard to put them in order because I love them all for their own reasons fairly equally. With the one exception, I've had a great time with these movies. I think it's the most consistent franchise. I said that in the short on my social media. I think it's constantly entertaining. It constantly gives people something to smile at. And there's not many franchises in this world that can say that. So many have their low points and you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done this. This one always gives you something. And Zach Lipovsky, Guy Busick, Adam Steen, everybody that was involved in this, and obviously Jeffrey for creating the story to begin with, they should all be very proud of this entry. I think they've done the fan base proud. Obviously, there are small flaws in there. Like I said, the CGI, if they lessened it a little, I'd be very, very, very happy. But other than that, I had fun with this. We go to Final Destination to have fun. I think this was fun, and it had the added bonus of being just a little bit different, a little bit fresher, with a new twist and a new story arc to follow. Characters' performances, strong. You felt the family vibe in it. There was nobody that was not convincing me at all. I felt a lot of the drama involving the family. I thought the mother's return was very good as well. She was not a sensationalist character. She was very quiet and reserved and had her reasons, which she explains, for not being in the kids' lives. I just think the whole movie was a good experience. That's all I can say about it. I've given it 4.5 on Letterboxd purely because to give it 5-star would suggest that I absolutely was blown away by every aspect of it and I wouldn't change anything. That's not the case. That's reserved for 2. I love 2. To me, obviously by the exception, every Final Destination is above 3-star, and that is testament to the idea, testament to the people that work on it. And all I can say is, please go and watch this movie. Please go in with a sense of fun in mind and enjoy what it gives you, because I was satisfied with it, and it's actually made me want to see another. After 5, I didn't want to see any more. I did not want to see anything, because I was like, that is the perfect way to wrap up Final Destination. Looping back to the beginning, we are done. And they managed to pull it out the bag. Well done, Final Destination Bloodlines, and everybody that worked on it. Thanks guys, that's my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. If you enjoyed this or you have something to say, please drop it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, as I'm pretty regular with videos now. Not all horror, there will be some other genre content coming out soon. Any support for this channel is massively appreciated. You can follow me on all my social media, all the links are below. Fairly regular posting on there as well, and I always try and take time to talk to anybody that wants to talk movies or just wants to talk in general. So thank you for watching Primetime Mitch today. Go check out Final Destination Bloodlines, and I will see you soon.
I'll see you.